Hey y'all, she's back. She's back and better than ever, okay? And y'all know y'all ask me these questions all the time. How to glow up physically, how to glow up mentally, how to glow up financially, all of the things, okay? The girls are trying to better themselves. I see you. So, in this video, we're gonna talk about all of it. And I'm gonna make sure that we stay right here so the message don't get lost. For each one, I'm just gonna give you like 2 to 3 things that definitely affected my own journey. You can try it and see if it works for you. Okay, y'all, so let's just get into it. Also, thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video, but we'll chat about that a little later. Let's just get into this. Let's start with physically. I think physically, your body can show a lot of stress. Your body can hold a lot of stress. Even hair holds stress. So there's a lot that can be done as far as the physical body to glow up, okay? For me, bullet point 1 would basically be satisfying the same fixation that you had from your old snacks with new snacks, new foods. For example, sometimes it's not the snack so much that we're attached to, but it might be the sound that it makes when we eat it. It might be the texture that it feels inside of our mouth when we're crunching on it, when we're biting it. Whatever it is, that might be the thing that the brain is really attached to more than the actual sugar and content of the snack, right? So for example, I like crunch. I like the sound of it. I like the feel of it. So I was a chip girl. I was eating things that were crunchy to satisfy that. Then I realized, okay, if I want to cut down on the sugars, on the things that are adding things on my body that I don't want, maybe I just need to find another crunchy alternative. So then I found crunchy granola bars. That way it's like 0 sugar. It does the same exact thing. I think it's delicious. It literally does the same exact thing for me. So sometimes I think the biggest thing in making better eating choices is not trying to make yourself miserable by saying, okay, I'm just gonna go eat a bunch of apples and carrots and things like that if that's not who you are. Sometimes you just need to find something as similar as possible. It can just be the texture, even the color might trick the mind into thinking that, oh, this is similar-ish. Figure out your fixation, satisfy it in another way. That would be one. Second thing, a lot of times what I see people do is try to cut everything out cold turkey at one point. Now that works sometimes. For example, for me, I did 75 hard and it changed everything for me. I don't eat the same snacks. I don't eat the same meals as often. It changed everything for me. So I was able to do the cold turkey thing. My suggestion would be try cold turkey first. It is pretty effective, but if you cannot do that and if it's making you miserable, if you feel like you've tried the cold turkey thing multiple times and that's just not how your brain is wired, then try removing one thing at a time or replacing one thing at a time. Maybe this week you focus on that one snack you really want to get out of the way. You find a replacement for that this week. Maybe next week you focus on, okay, I've cut out that one snack. Now let me see if I can cut out this one meal. Then we start adding on. Even when I started 75 hard, I felt overwhelmed because I felt like I didn't have enough knowledge about nutrition and what I should be eating instead of the bad things. Once we decided, hey, our diet is gonna be no Uber Eats, I didn't know what I was gonna cook at the house. I didn't know what to get from the grocery store. So it felt very overwhelming. And if I hadn't had pushed past that, I probably wouldn't have done it because I felt like I didn't know where to start. So if you're having trouble pushing past that, that's okay. Give yourself grace and say, okay, I'm not gonna take it all on at once. I think I'm going to try one thing at a time. Maybe you make a bingo card for yourself and cross them out as you replace different things, as you replace different meals or different snacks, or you try new fruits and try new vegetables. Maybe you make it a game for yourself. Maybe your brain works best on a reward system. So maybe you get a reward for cutting something out. Maybe you get a reward just by crossing something out on your bingo card. Don't think that your journey has to look one way. That might make it more miserable and then again affect your mental health, which will then probably loop back into your physical health. Try that. Lastly, for the physical, the biggest thing that I didn't want to do for the longest, that my boyfriend told me to do forever, and I was like, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm not doing it, I don't need to do that. Keeping my body warm. In other words, you need to sweat. And that might sound like, yeah, no. Like, girl to girl, the biggest change that I saw in my physical health, in my physical appearance, and everything that I was working so hard on was when I started sweating. I could do strength training 6 days a week if I wanted to, and it still didn't give me the results that I wanted because I wasn't sweating enough. Now, once I combined the two, tens, exactly what I was looking for. But your body, especially as women, is looking to store everything that we put in it, every all the things that come from our mental, even the stress and the cortisol that's getting released from your body. If you're an anxiety girly like me, you're releasing a lot more cortisol than your body should be, so your body's holding on to that. The best thing to do is just sweat it out. Maybe you don't feel called to do it physically, like sweating is just not my thing, I hate doing it physically. Maybe try to feel called to do it mentally. So maybe try to feel called to, instead of viewing sweat as getting fat out the body, maybe you view sweat as getting toxic thoughts, toxic energy out of the body, stress out of the body, all that excess cortisol. Like maybe you view it differently. When I'm sweating, I enjoy to sweat now, which is crazy for me to say. I used to hate to sweat. I enjoy to sweat now because it feels not only like a physical release, but more than anything, a mental, emotional release every single time. I've been working out before and sweating super hard to the point that I was crying. And not because it was hard, but because it just felt like such a release. And that's good. So if you need to rewire how you view sweating, how you view pushing your body past its limit, then do so, because I think that was the biggest change for me, and also made me a lot more mentally strong. Pushing past that point of where you're breaking a little sweat to where you're drenched in sweat is a really, really difficult point, and it's easy to retreat when that drenched in sweat point is coming up on you. Pushing yourself and saying, oh, I can go further than I thought. Oh, this isn't going to harm me the way I thought that it was. Oh, I'll be okay. You might actually start to crave it. If I haven't sweat for a while, now I'm like, oh girl, I wanna go sweat. And it does not cost you a lot to sweat. I've said this before, you could sweat in your home. You could work out here. It's about just pushing your body. It's about doing those extra reps. It's about, you could turn the heat up, girl, in your house a little bit. Make it a little bit of a home hot Pilates if you wanted to. Not too much, safety. But there are things that you can do to make your body sweat a little bit more often and keep yourself a little bit warm more often. That way your body is not going into hibernation, it's cold and it's trying to store everything. But it's a place where things can come in, things can go out freely. Let your body flow freely with itself. Okay, those are our 3 for physical. Let's move on. Okay, let's talk about mentally / emotionally. The biggest thing that not only I have done, but in my relationship that we've done, that we've kind of instilled in the household, is trying to have slow mornings. It's really, really important that the way that you set your day up doesn't feel stressful. It might feel a little daunting to set the alarm earlier, whether it's 15 minutes, a half an hour, a full-on hour, but your body will adjust. So once you try to do that for a couple days and you have a little bit more time to pick your outfit, to do your hair, if you're doing your makeup, if you have to cook something for yourself for breakfast, the time to not scarf it down, but to sit and enjoy it, to feel the gratitude of what you're eating while you're eating it. There's so much more time to pray before you start your day. Like, there's so much you can do when you slow it down. And I genuinely think it takes the body out of like fight or flight mode. Starting the body on fight or flight every single morning is unhealthy, girl. We're gonna talk about the monster of cortisol again, but getting your body out of this fight or flight, what's happening, are we gonna make it, do we have enough time, can we cut traffic, those type of things are unhealthy for the mental space. Throughout the day, your mind might be a little bit more anxious off of thinking, what am I missing, what am I forgetting about, what to do, what do I have to do, what, like, your mind might start to be in the fight or flight rather than in the flow of just existing in the present and letting what's going to be just be. Allotting more time for yourself, not only in the morning, but throughout your day. Allotting more time. If you are a scheduled person, I was just talking to a friend about this, and they were saying that they pack their day-to-day in too much. They almost overschedule. Let's say they allotted an hour for thing 1, but then thing 1 took an hour and a half, and now thing 2 is behind, and then thing 3 is behind. Let's allot more time in between what you have going on, just as grace periods. Maybe you just need a little extra time of, hey, in case this thing runs long, I have some extra time, and if it doesn't run long, great, I just have some time to myself, to breathe for a moment, to scroll for a little second, to just exist. A lot more time for yourself throughout the day where it seems fit. Try not to cram too much into one day. If you can't get it done today, tomorrow will come. That's one. Now on the opposite end of that, I would say having too much space in your day tends to lead to overthinking and poor hobbies like just scrolling, or maybe overeating during your day, or grabbing the things that are filled with sugar and things that you want to eat less of. Why? Because the body is looking for a little bit of a sugar high or something that it's used to leaning on, right? So you see how all these things kind of work together. Now, all of us deserve time. There are days where I do absolutely nothing because I need to give my body that, but day after day after day after day of having a little bit too much empty space is not healthy for the brain. The brain then creates scenarios for itself, and that's where anxiety comes in, and that's where depression can also try to find a way into your brain and stick itself. She's not welcome here. Okay, if you have too much empty space, that doesn't mean that you need to go pick up 6 jobs. Like, let's make that very clear. You do not need to go pick up 6 jobs because you have empty space. That's not what we're saying. Maybe you bring more hobbies in. So maybe when you have a little bit of extra space and you know that, you know what, from like 2 to 5 every day, I am doing nothing. Maybe like for an hour of that, you pick up a new hobby, and it could be anything. Hobbies can be free 99. Like, it doesn't have to be something that you spend money on. Maybe you just pick up something for your mind to be creative in ways that will benefit itself, that will benefit you internally and not cause you stress and cortisol levels to raise again, and things that stick into your body that are unhealthy. So if you know that you have a little bit too much empty time, maybe you start to look up things that you can do within your time. It doesn't have to be working. Everything doesn't have to be monetary, just for you. That way, you're not allowing the mind to wander too far off into fantasy realm. Lastly, the biggest thing here that I think will help all of us out mentally is reminding ourselves that it's really never that deep. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of times things can feel world ending, but if we were to look back on all of our life, however old that you are, there are so many moments that we thought were like world ending, and the world is still spinning, girl. We are still going, you are still fine, and you are probably thriving even if you don't see it, even if so much of your stress is clouding seeing how much you are thriving in the world. Let me remind you that you are. But beyond that, these things that feel that they are so devastating to our lives probably A, won't be, or B, even if they are, try to shift your perspective from this thing is happening to me to this thing is happening for me. So rather than feeling like, oh my God, the world is ending, like, why me? Try to change your perspective to like, why not me? Because even things that we tend to view as negative or bad or whatever are usually there to teach us something, to push us to the next level, to prepare us for whatever else is coming ahead. So when things feel like this sucks or this is bad, shifting your perspective always to finding the good in something. And if you cannot find the good in something, because I am not the one to say there is good in every single thing that happens, some things are just downright sucky. Okay, so when those things happen, giving yourself the space to grieve is extremely important, whatever that thing may be that feels devastating for you at the time. Beyond giving yourself the space to grieve, then saying, okay, and this thing made me stronger, made me wiser, made me more empathetic toward those around me, maybe empathetic toward those in my situation. Maybe it taught me a lesson that I don't even know in this moment. Maybe it taught me something that I won't know until I'm 80, and then I look back and be like, oh my gosh, when that thing that felt so terrible when I was 20 happened, now I know why. Maybe the pieces all fell together. Whatever it may be, trying to find the growth, the teachings, the lessons, the wisdom, and everything that happens, even if it feels like it sucks. Okay, let's talk financially, okay? Because this is also something that can affect you physically, mentally, and all of the above. The first thing I'm gonna tell you is something you probably already know in the world of budgeting, okay? Now, what I am going to tell you is that it's probably maybe a hot take, I don't know. I know when people are saying budgeting, they're like, you need to cut this, you need to cut that, you need to cut this. I don't know that budgeting means cutting things like super down. Maybe cutting back slightly, but I don't know if budgeting means like being miserable. Like, I don't know if I agree with that. Let's say I'm trying to budget $100 or something. I might, if I'm capable, try to keep even $5 off to the side for in case something costed an extra $1, in case something costed an extra $2, $3. Like, a lot of added stress financially is when we didn't allot for the what if we didn't allot for those extra cents, for the extra dollars, for whatever it is. So keeping a little bit of like a cushion of a bubble in your budgeting is important. Try not to, again, similar to the physical talk of trying to just cold turkey everything, Same thing with budgeting. I would say try not to just chop down something super drastically, because that again will affect your mental. It probably won't be sustainable for you financially, and then you'll feel disappointed in yourself because you're not hitting those goals that you wanted to. Also, be honest with yourself about the things that you can cut back. Being honest with yourself is very important. Moving from that into the next point, you need to look at your subscriptions. You are probably subscribed to 40 million things that you do not need to be subscribed to. If you haven't used an app in a very long time, girl, cut the subscription, you don't need it. A lot of times what we do with finances and budgeting and subscriptions and all of these things is hoard. So we try to have this control of our fingers being on it, but I don't want to let this go because no, I can afford it, I can do it. Girl, let it go. If you're not using it, let it go. It's really important to look at these things and to look at where you're finding your frivolous spending that might be just coming out of your account every month without you even noticing. If you're not using that subscription, cancel it. If you're not using that service, cancel it. You can always get it back. It's not going nowhere. If you do not know what you're subscribed to and things like that, I do have a solution because I have a personal testimony. I specifically chose this video to talk about these things that are important to your finances because I do have a literal one-stop shop for y'all to get all of those things handled in one app. So that is where today's sponsor, Rocket Money, comes in. Now let's talk about this. Once you download Rocket Money, they have a bunch of different features, but my favorite feature is going through your subscriptions. I found out I was being charged for apps I hadn't even heard of. I don't know when I downloaded it. I don't know if I downloaded games when I was bored. Also, another big tool is service cancellation. For example, different memberships that you want to cancel, different things that you're paying for every single month and you don't even go there anymore. Rocket Money will handle that service cancellation for you. Sometimes it's a hassle and they bring you in a loophole so that you can't cancel it. Rocket Money will handle that for you. So yeah. Also, spreadsheets. Rocket Money will make the spreadsheets for you. So if you're like, girl, I don't even know how to make a spreadsheet, I don't even know how to go through that, Rocket Money will do it. Also, Rocket Money will negotiate lowering your bills for you. Yes, I said that. It will negotiate on your behalf. It'll do its research and it'll find ways to lower your monthly bills. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money overall much better. So in order for you to save more and spend less, join the over 5 million users that are using Rocket Money today. So make sure you go to rocketmoney.com/Taty to get started for free today, or you can click the link down low in my description box. Okay y'all, back into the video. Overall, the biggest thing that I want y'all to understand is that all of these aspects are all intertwined. I'm physically at my best when I'm mentally at my best. All of these things fit into one another, and even if it's not a super high financial month, as long as I feel that I am doing all that I can as far as budgeting, as far as saving, as far as wisely spending and watching what's going on, I still feel much better mentally, which helps me feel better physically. It's all intertwined in one another, so I want you to make sure you're not prioritizing one over the other. Sometimes maybe you feel so poor about yourself physically that you're going super hard in the gym and you're trying so hard and maybe you're not seeing the results you want. One, because you're probably not doing enough balance of all the different types of workouts like we talked about, but maybe you're not seeing the results you want, so now mentally you're starting to struggle. Maybe because you're mentally struggling, you're not able to stay on top of your finances as much. Now you have financial stress that loops back around. I don't want y'all in a cycle of stress in all of these three realms, so try to keep your hands on all of them without it feeling super daunting. Maybe you just make this a challenge for yourself. Like, you know what? Screw 75 hard just being about your physical, right? Maybe you make it about all around. You know what? I'm gonna budget more. I'm going to prioritize my time for my mind more. And I'm going to find a little bit more variety in the things that I eat and the way that I work out. That is what can be your challenge for yourself. You don't have to follow what everyone else is doing for their challenges. You don't have to focus on one thing at a time. You can find different ways to integrate all of them into one another, because if not, if one drops, the other ones are probably not too far off from meeting it down there, you know? So I want the best for y'all. I know you want the best for yourself too, even if you don't see it right now. Let me know if you have any fun tips in the comments. If you have any other questions about my journey, about what you got going on, you know we love to girl chat in the comments. Come find me down there, and I will see y'all in the next one.